Good evening and welcome to the Laugh the Monkey Music Show. Tommy Prong, welcome back. How are you?
Hey, it's great to see you again, man. What's going on?
Well, big fan of yours. I think I first saw you live at Masquerade. I think it was Prove You Wrong. You were on tour with Pantera, so I've been a long time fan of you. And consistently you've been putting out good albums. And
Oh, thanks.
I think you're like one of the king of riffs. I gotta be honest with you. Whenever I go back, I listen. I can't believe how many riffs you have packed into every song. Like it's amazing.
I mean, a lot of guys are like that these days. I mean, you listen to some of the modern metal, there's so much riffing going on. So I think back in the day, yeah, I mean, I could congratulate myself a little bit. I think Beg to Differ was a standout record. Uh, Not many people were doing that with that style. We could call it like hardcore, groove metal, thrash, industrial metal combo. And but now, like, I always feel like, wow, I mean, you listen to some of these bands today, I mean, there's so many riffs. So I appreciate that, but I think I'm surpassed a little bit.
Oh, you're still the king of it. You started. I think you were one of the guys that started, and I think there's only you can have a lot of riffs, but they got to be good. I mean, I can think of a band like Revocation off the top of my head that's a lot of really good riffs that you
Yeah,
can
it's
make
a
a
good
lot of
one.
songs from. I just had him on Dave's. He's got a lot of really great riffs, but sometimes a lot of riffs don't equal good riffs.
Oh, I know. Yeah,
And so, like I'm saying,
abundance
you have
is.
a lot of good riffs. Revocation has a lot of good riffs. It's not a lot of still good quality. Is what I'm saying. I mean,
I appreciate
opinion.
that. I mean, it's just a natural thing where uh, if I'm just sitting around playing guitar and I come up with something, I'm like, "Well, that's kind of interesting," and then I'll put it in the computer and I'll let it stay there for a while, and then when I listen back, I'm like, "All right, that one's good. I could probably work with that one," but there's a lot of throwaways, uh, a lot. So. Some guys are more overly. I this, especially younger guys. I find are overly confident. Where, oh, I came up with this and it's automatically great. I'm like, you know what, dude? No, not really. Let it sit for a while, or reevaluate. A lot of people today are just like whatever they do, they think is fantastic. Right off the bat. There's a lot of that, I think.
I think part of it with you is also you were a sound guy before, and you're still a studio guy, and you
Yeah.
record. So you are definitely wearing more than one hat. So I think you can kind of critique yourself and hold yourself to a different standard. Because if you produce with the bands, hopefully as a producer, you can come back to yourself and be like, "What would I say to myself? Maybe I need to, be a little more picky." I think that probably helps.
Yeah, it's a fine balance. Sometimes stuff is overworked too, where you like the old records with the great ones, obviously Sabbath Volume 4 and Machine Head, Deep Purple, and the Zeppelin, early Zeppelin records. Uh, it was the magic of just going in there and playing and capturing that is always cool. Like
Mm-hmm.
now, everything is computer music. So, this, I don't know how many, some records, I guess, are done old school, but it's expensive and people don't have the patience for it anymore. So, a lot of times mistakes are cool, in other words, that, oh man, we didn't really plan that to happen, but it came out that way and it sounds pretty cool. You don't get that anymore.
No, you're not going to get the accidents in the studio you can never replicate the next day.
Yeah,
You don't touch the faders at the end of the night. You go, nobody breathe. Just you're
yeah.
taping it.
Oh, yeah,
You're
exactly.
grease penciling it. I went to school for it too. So you're grease penciling it,
Yeah.
and you're like, there's no more splicing. I mean, those are all happy accidents that you will never touch again unless you're back full on analog, reel to reel. I mean, unless you're really doing it to tape.
I
Because
mean, even
even
early,
analog isn't all tape anymore. You know what I mean? When they do analog,
no.
they're still not doing it all tape. It's not true analog.
No. Well, I think I like those old days where right you don't touch the faders. You move that. Like mixing was. You were actually behind a board and doing it. It was crazy. I mean, like you said, I had my experience as a sound guy. I think that had a lot to do with things where uh, I would see the response from the crowd due to like your own live mixes. So
Mm-hmm.
at a club, it's like, well, I'm gonna like put this reverb on the snare like at this certain time, and that would get people going crazy. Like there's a lot of immediacy as a live sound guy at a club, especially at like hardcore shows where it was just so insane, it was crazy back at CB's, and I think that influenced, uh, like a lot of what I did musically with my own band. And then it wasn't just the hardcore shows, like I would be working during the week and it was all the so-called art rock bands. So, which were fantastic too. It was just a good time too. Like people, I think talking to my wife about it, where, uh, like I was living out in Queens, and I met a guy. And like I was working at a bookstore. Uh, I graduated high school early, and I was working at this bookstore, and I was like sort of already failing out of college at Queens College, and I was like, let's just move into the city. I'm sick of Queens. These people are driving me crazy. And we're like, all right, let's do it. It's like, I'll get a Village Voice. It was just like, oh yeah, apartment, $300 a month. Lower East Side. I was like, yeah, let's go down and get it. And we're like, yeah, okay, sign a lease. Yeah, move in. Like it was like there was nothing to it. Like we were just, kids getting an apartment, and it was like, oh no, I didn't have to ask my parents for anything, or we just were able to do it. Now forget it. Like
Oh my God, three
you
hundred
know,
dollars. I was 450, I think, in college. I'm only a few years younger than you, but even now, I'm like 450. You can't find anything. You couldn't even. I don't know. You can't
nothing.
rent a car. You can't even go to the airport and like rent a car nowadays for 450. I'm exaggerating, but I mean it's that bad. Like it's crazy.
Well, I mean, this location where we were at too, like First Avenue between Second and Third Street. I mean, that's like you got to be like a millionaire to live down
Yeah,
there
you
now.
you
So
were you
it's
were right
like,
down there.
yeah, we were just, and it was disgusting down there back in the day, but whatever, we were able to do it, and there was definitely like all the street artists, all the music, like Sonic Youth and Swans, and all the great, Madonna. Everyone came out of that
Yeah,
back then, so it was. It was a great time and great place, and there was so many clubs too. Like you're talking about CB's, but like like I was in a band before I even worked at CB's. We were playing in the Mud Club, and there was other places to to play, and there was just a lot of underground stuff going on. Now it's like, ugh, it's like Manhattan is just a completely different deal now. It's like I don't even know what it is, to be honest with you.
I think I live up in New England, in Connecticut, so it's kind of the same. Where
Right,
there's pockets now, and it's most of the bands coming in, and I think these bands, you and other bands of that ilk, and bands that are going to continue the tradition, are the ones that are going to hold out and beat AI because rock's going to beat AI on that. It's always going to be that's not going to be touched. We don't want to see. You can't see live AI. We're not going to see it. It's like going to see a piece of artwork and watching a piece of
right.
artwork. No one cares. That's always going to be the same, whether it's big or low. Who knows? It's always going to be there because we want mistakes. I want one hit's a mistake, twos. Oh, it's on purpose. You know what I'm saying? You want to feel the music breathe. That being said, there's not a lot like it used to be. I think I don't know mid '90s is when things started kind of tripping off of like new stuff bursting out and creating its own scene, like longevity scene.
I was thinking of that the other day too, because uh, I don't know how I was thinking about it, but things really haven't changed that much. Like in the last, you said 95. I think you're right. Around that time, I mean, the last 30 years have been like, I think, stagnant, like if with
Yeah,
everything. Obviously not technology, but I think all that movement and maybe all that progress is devoted to social media and
right.
TikTok, and the art scene has suffered. Now it's all about the explosion of narcissism in the world. It's
It'll
just
eat
like,
itself like everything else does.
I
Eventually,
don't
it will eat
know.
itself.
I don't know about that. I think that, yeah, it'll eat the whole everything. I think this is like, uh, I wasn't planning on getting to be a doomsayer here, but I think that everything is going to get
Dark.
swallowed by that. Yeah, because,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean it can't go on like this. So it's almost like there's going to have to be another flood or something like
I'm
that.
going to tell you right now, what's going on right now. I know, right? Without, right? Everybody go down to the boat show and get some boats. What's going on right now?
Uh-huh.
There's going to be a lot of metal bands writing some really good music. So if we get through this, I want some really good metal Sabbath albums coming out after what we're in the middle of right now in the world. Um, but like in this, back to the scene, I was going to say, like, I remember seeing, like, we were on the same house, how you guys, you guys was touring with Pantera with Cowboys, and then I saw Alice in Chains open up
Right.
for. I saw Alice in Chains open up for Extreme in
Okay.
the
Yeah. Yeah. I
Cotton
think
Club.
that.
That's crazy nowadays. Can you imagine like those two bands like those? That kind of difference would never happen.
I don't know. I mean, the the success on that. I mean, I listen to Pearl Jam now, like, and I feel like I missed out because, like, I think they're brilliant, and I
I agree. I agree with you too. I think there's a different curve that it was. They're just a rock band that no one was getting at the time. It's the same way. Then they weren't
yeah,
alternative. They were just a good rock band.
exactly. They and so was Alice in Chains, but Alice
Oh
in
yeah,
Chains was sort of uh not hair metal, but
no.
they were derivative. They came from that, and it was easy for Alice in Chains and Pantera and some of the bands that came from that to really merge into into the mainstream. So that doesn't really shock me that much. Like with the radio promo guys and programmers were wow, Pearl Jam. Yes, we're playing this. Yes, we're playing. Pearl Jam immediately, like Alice in Chains, Pearl Jam, Nirvana. It was like bands like I guess like Prong and Voivod and
Oh yeah.
Ministry, and it was just like we don't know what to do with these bands. Like
But
this
you guys
is
are still exploding. You guys are still having your big albums around the time. Guns N' Roses, all these every band, even your different genres, like whatever you liked, all the bands were exploding in their own spaces, doing their own.
yeah. I
They still
mean,
had a sound. They had their own sound.
we had a real ceiling. Like we were compacted and like
Oh
we
yeah,
hit.
yeah.
Yeah, it was like a lot of people still didn't get it. So and they never did. So that was it. Didn't hit the hugeness of like White Zombie and like a lot of the bands that came from our time that really nailed it. I thought like we were confused and like the scene was confused, but the radio programmers and MTV sort of said, "Well, you're not going to be confused anymore because here it is, grunge, and this is what
Right.
you guys are. This is what you're listening to now." So that's really what happened. And then eventually that didn't last long, and then they're like, well, we're gonna. We're tired of these divisions. Everything has to be R&B music, like that's you're saying like from 94 on where pop music is for the most part is R&B music or
Yeah.
I put rap into
And
that.
R&B and pop. Yeah, it had a soul and
EDM even I put into that whole thing crossover where rock music is definitely something that they sat down and decided no, we're not doing this anymore. It's like sure the if the Dave Matthews and those groups that they'll let them thrive on their own, but the big massive media push is definitely with R&B music for sure.
I think there's still more to come out. I know Billy Corgan had a theory, and I know there's different things out there. And I've heard theories about even streaming nowadays. Like I've been saying it a lot lately. I can't. The theory is that rock shows are selling all these other
They
pop
are.
artists. Okay, but also now think about it. All these other artists aren't selling all these big pop stars. They have these massive streams. They're not touring and doing as big as these rock shows are, but they have these huge streaming numbers that aren't making sense. A lot of theories that there's bots and other stuff, numbers being hyped up. I mean, corruption in music? I don't know. That's got to be filtered out a little bit. I think that's
Hey,
the thing to be thought
I
about.
don't. Yeah, like some of these artists. I mean, I'm not in tune with what's going on. It's like some of these artists that I'm not even going to say like like, I don't even know some of especially the R&B artists. Like I mean I don't know how they're so big and uh, like I see like the weekend, like I know like he sold out like LA
Right.
Coliseum. I mean that's like crossover music. But some of these guys like, how do they make it all this money? Like, how do these guys like what is all this stuff, this big
I think so too. I mean, it's not a question of their talent, but it's a question of how are they getting these numbers financially with the media and the whole. That's what I'm thinking. I don't see where that's breaking down. Square
right, I
footage for
don't get
like a
it.
business, the square footage,
There is
how much you make for.
corruption.
I
Yeah,
don't think that's accurate, and I like that somebody brought it up. I hope more of it comes out because I think it's cast a kind of a negative light on other music. I think that might be a good breathing spot. But I think it's funny you say MTV. I always have a theory. Remember when say Billy Squire did that video "Rock Me Tonight"? Everyone always talked about how it killed his career because he was dancing around. Billy always had a dance and had his own dance moves because he had a pink shirt on or something. Nobody cares.
Right.
But if you notice around that time, though, I think it was something else because think about Rick Springfield, Sammy Hagar, went Van Halen at the time. They did no more solo male singers anymore around that time point.
Wow.
So
Okay. That's interesting.
so it's a thought I have. I'm like, wait a minute, because then he had Rick Springfield wasn't doing that because and then this Sammy was in here. I started thinking of all the solo singers, and it feels like it was all filtering into either rock bands. I don't know. That's my theory. I've had recently been thinking about I just kind of weird, right? Because that one song shouldn't have killed him. I mean, it wasn't even the song. It was just because he danced. Who cares? I think it was more
You're opening up a whole other can of worms with that because you could go on forever about that.
Yeah,
It's just you know, it's this the agendas that have infiltrated, the music scene and
right.
everything. It's like it's somehow a blessing for prom too on some end where we generally don't have to participate in any of this.
No,
Like and that includes the metal scene, which I'm like blinded by it a lot of times. I got a new car recently, or I leased one, and it had Sirius XM in there. And I'm like, I got to pay the subscription. I got to hear what's going on more again. And I'm just like, what is going on? I mean, I'm an old guy. So that's true. So, but it is just blinding. I mean, it's just I'm like we said this 20 years ago. Like everything sounds the same, and we were complaining about those bands back then. And like now that's on steroids, where it's just like
yeah.
this again. Like you got to be kidding me. Like I'm like they can't be doing this. This is impossible. Like I mean, this is back. Like I just can't believe some of the stuff that's going on. It's just it's unbelievable. Like so,
There is.
like we were like this back when Prong started. We were like, this can't go on anymore. That there's no way. And here now it's 40 years later and it's still going on. Like we just can't believe it. So I'm like, I don't care. Like I've just finished up a new record. This is like this record is like a real one that doesn't give a shit about what's going on today. So, we just do what we do and have a good time. Like that's really
You
what Prong
tell me
started
we have a
doing.
new prong record. You had a new prong record coming.
Yeah, like oh yeah,
Thing, yeah.
studio record. Yeah,
Oh yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah. It'll be
I
out.
love
Well, it's
that.
supposed to be out in November. We're trying to get a tour around it. So and
Hmm.
we just signed a deal with Napalm Records. So it's
Oh,
like
congratulations.
yeah. So it should be. Uh, it's definitely modern in its own way, but it's where it's not. We still. I'm still trying to do something different. Like something that's like that is different for the listener, or something that is exciting, or trying to. It's hard because everything's there's nothing new under the sun. Everything's been done. So, but
Yeah, but you
there's
have your own
such.
sound. You have a fingerprint of your own, though, to begin with.
I,
And I
ca- I
think
mean,
all
that's
your
just natural. Yeah, I mean, how many records you're gonna have that? I mean, my voice is weird. It's different. My guitar style is different. So, but yeah, no, I mean, I'm just like again, like the music scene. I think has really stagnated from now after 95. Some people will say after like 80 something. So I don't know, but the early 80s were good, definitely. Post punk was
oh
to
yeah,
me that's like my era. Like that's what I thought was, obviously, the greats. Anybody from The Cure, Killing Joke,
oh
Bauhaus, all
yeah,
that
yep,
that came out of that era. Um, punk was a weird thing. Like, what was punk? The Sex Pistols. Sex Pistols were trying to be derivative of the New York Dolls. So then the Ramones, but then post punk was where it all came. You had anything from Tears for Fears to Spandau Ballet, Killing Joke, Stranglers, you could go, the list goes on of like great acts, and the whole new wave thing is just Depeche Mode. Like how much came in out of that era, and then like rock bands, Suicidal Tendencies, and then the grunge bands, and Cro-Mags, hardcore bands, Bad Brains. Like so much was there, and since then, everyone's sort of derivative of that, in a way. Metal, you even have like Morbid Angel and the early, death and the early, uh, you know, uh, death metal bands were influential for 30 years later. These bands are still doing the same thing. And the whole thing, like, oh, hardcore. Like really, dude? Like, I mean, how much of the whole hardcore thing, even the hardcore bands back in the 80s were trying to do something different. Like they weren't just
Right.
like we're hardcore and which they did there was no like this whole boundaries of like what you do is like is crazy.
Oh,
Like that
the gatekeeping is the worst in
yeah, no,
music.
it's like that. I mean, um, it's unbelievable. Like so, like bands like Leeway, I thought they were pushing the envelope, and your Cro-Mags, obviously,
Hmm.
and then you had Typo, Carnivore. Like everyone was trying to do, and now it just was like, oh, everything is in this block item. I mean, you have new bands like Sleep Token. I mean, like like that are well, they're not really that new anymore, but like they have done stuff that's really interesting, and uh, but Gent came around, so there's been different things, but the whole detuning of your guitars to be heavy movement is just like that's boring the hell out of me. It's like like on the new Prong record, we're doing stuff like in E again because I just can't take it anymore. I can't take these. Like just and like I know Rob Flynn sort of he went out and said like we were the first band to downtune, and that's not true. I think Prong was the first one because I mean Terry when we went in and did the cleansing record, he was like, how am I supposed to like you guys are tuned down to drop C? How am I supposed to make a record like this? And he was just baffled, like you know. He was like, he said, I had a hard time dealing with, drop D with Pantera. And now you guys are going down lower. I'm like, this is what we're doing, and I'm sure somebody did it before us, but I was just like, uh, I was just fooling around, and we dropped down even further, put heavier strings on the guitar, and then that was it. But you know, uh, I don't know. It's everyone's going down. Like now, the bass is the treble part of the the bass
Yeah.
is the treble thing, and the guitars are the bass. It's like 8 string guitars and stuff like what is going on? So whatever.
Well,
I'm
I feel
just
like,
an old
yeah.
guy.
No, no, I get it. I think one of the things I think we mentioned like all the other bands though is they were, and back then it was everyone was didn't have the money. They were scraping their own sounds together. Even thrash bands, singers sound differently. You weren't certain type of singers. The guitars had their own sounds. Everybody sounded different. Even bands like OMD, they were building their own bass guitars and keyboards that were Casios. Like when I talked to them, he built it. They were building their own instruments. Man, how cool is that? Like that was the point of creativity when you were like in the bedroom putting instruments together. That's not happening now. That you go to
Well,
you're
see,
ordering something
yeah,
online, and that whole process was a whole thought process.
I don't know how like like orchestral maneuvers in the dark how that stuff came about like uh and like early techno like I guess it comes from Kraftwerk. But like, these kids in the housing projects, they originally got like, drum machines, and I don't know how they did it all. And then, early techno, that's where it came out of. Like
Yeah.
these guys were in like, like in Detroit, like in their housing projects, making this stuff. It's like insane, you know. And then like early sequenced music, like they had I don't know how they did it, but like they would link up sequencers, and this is before
Oh,
computers, so
right, like daisy, some kind of weird kind of daisy chain that's not really a daisy
exactly.
chain type of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not from like I tried to get into the keyboard realm when it started really exploding. Uh, I guess like at like around 94 or something with rock bands, and I could never nail it. I could never like wasted so many years trying to figure out the whole thing. It's like reminds me of like my brother who's like he's been trying to play guitar for like 50 years. You know, it's just like he just can't get it. Like no matter he's gone for lessons and like books and so this whole thing. And it's mind-boggling. He just you got to get handed to him, but he just it's like either you can play, or you can't. So I think the same thing with that keyboard realm. It's like either you nail it or you don't, and it's a good thing to know how to do because a lot of producers came out of that realm. But yeah, no, it's like it's a weird thing where we experimented and we got away with it, especially with Prong. Like we sort of had the blessings of the art gods in a lot of ways. Like I mean, it's we've always been on the edge of just completely falling apart, completely like not knowing what to do, and it's somehow the project gets saved. I don't know how, but it's like it happened again. Like I was like literally during COVID, like I was done. Like I was like, forget this. Like this is bullshit. Like I'm not gonna try to salvage a music career and this whole thing. And it just started. It just a couple of phone calls later, I'm like on the road again and making records. It's like the weirdest thing. Like I've tried to blow this thing up and it just never happens.
I want to say a few things on that. I mean, I think the first thing is, as far as you guys go, you guys have such a loyal crowd that's lasted longer than anything. And I think maybe your sound, which is so good, and I think it's not because of who you guys are. It's not about talent because like Primus came out, I think, kind of after and kind of did some of the same similar things, and they couldn't break that ceiling either. There's always become that kind of a super cult band, like not just a cult band, niche band. A cult band is a little bit bigger. That's kind of where you guys are, because anybody that knows their rock or their metal knows you guys, has a couple of your albums or CDs or cassettes.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
who you guys are. But you'll be known in 2 years, and whoever's on the radio right now, most of them will not be known. Better
Yeah,
or
I don't
worse, I
know.
don't know.
I don't know. Like for instance, I'm always confused about that. I mean, I don't. I've never been able to have my finger on the pulse of people's mentality or anything. Like, it's I've always been this way. I don't know what it is, but uh, the fact, like like people point out, is like that. A lot of people don't know who Prong is, and like with like this next Prong album, uh, like people saying, you should just call the album and have it self-titled because a lot of people don't know who Prong is. So I'm like, yeah, maybe that's an
No,
idea. But that's
maybe I don't know. You guys are already legendary, man. Anybody that knows their metal, yeah. I mean, maybe
all right. Well,
marketing
we'll
might
figure
be
that
better.
out.
I'm
Yeah,
saying,
maybe.
what do I know? I'm just saying marketing.
No,
I don't
I
have
mean,
anything about marketing. I'm
marketing is
saying
this.
you guys are just so known. I mean, this would be your 14th album, and for somebody to not know any
Yeah.
of your songs at this point, and in the genre you're going to be hitting into, is bananas to me. It's like coming up last the dance.
Oh
Now this
man, but you're
album's
the
going to
kids,
remind people
man.
how good you are.
The young kids,
You know,
like I hate to sound like bitter or anything like that, but it's not bitter. It's just a reality. Like we were on a tour, Prong, and it was like we wound up having to go on before like a newer band, like on Sumerian Records, and these guys they had no idea who Prong was, and they were like they were young little brats, and they were on the radio and all kinds of shit, and like I'm not gonna say who they were, and I didn't I didn't think they were that good. Uh, and they were complete assholes to us. Like they would just like I was I made we had I was making a joke about it. Like I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna try to make friends with these kids. Like I'm gonna like be so nice to them and see what happens. Like it was like it gets to that point with sometimes with people with like and they don't even know that they just think you're kissing their ass or they don't know what's going on. And it was like it was amazing. It still didn't work. Like they were so arrogant, these kids, and so oblivious. And it was like there's so much of that today. There really is. It's like
there
no
is. I see
matter
that on my show.
yeah.
I won't have
There's
them on
just
my show.
so
I've had bands do that. And I'm like, I'm not having you on my show. I don't care who you are. I have that. I've had people like you and other people that have made a mark in music, have sold whatever many albums, and you guys are just nothing. who do you guys aren't rock stars. There's no more rock stars anymore anyhow. You're not even known. You need to relax and put the time in.
I love that. I mean, it's true, but I mean,
I won't give press to that.
the
No way.
reality of it, the reality is that you can't get beyond that. It's like, it's that's why my wife was like, you just put out a record and it's just Prong. Like if all these young kids like they don't know who Prong was, now they know who they are. So it's like it's kind of like
You know what? I
that
gotta be
kind of.
honest, that could be good actually. You know, I mean, I'm sorry. As I think about that, I'm actually processing it. Sorry, out loud. It could be good just have the name of it because I think your wife might be onto something. Because if it's you're hitting that wall, maybe that is right.
She's
You
very
know?
adamant about it, like because I had a
Ah,
discussion with
yeah.
the label already, and they're like, I don't know, like blah blah blah, no, like we're not opposed to that idea, blah blah blah, and it's like, uh, it's not like the old days where people made their own. Like, does the Beatles record, the White Album, say the White Album, or is it just was
I
called
don't
the
think it
White
was.
Album?
I just call it what I'm gonna think. I think it's the Beatles and the very fine. Not it doesn't even like covers. I think. I think it's is it written on the side. I think. I don't even know. You know what I mean? It's
Okay.
just
Well, it's like what is the Spinal Tap record? What is it? That's yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So and then the Black Album. What is the Black Album? The Metallica record.
It's just. I think it's self-titled, isn't it? I
That is
also
a
remember
stuff.
Spinal Tap. Spinal Tap was giving them a hard time about the Black Album. Did you ever see that bit? They were
Oh
on stage
no.
with him. They go, "Oh, who
Oh
else
yeah.
had a Black Album?" It was like back at some Live Aid or something. It's funny.
Oh, that would have been funny. Yeah, I saw the new
Yeah,
Spinal Tap record. I mean, movie. I
yeah.
thought it was pretty funny.
I haven't seen it yet. That's good.
It's not. I mean, you got to get through the whole thing. It's like it
Yeah,
starts out and you're like, oh, please, the same jokes, but it gets to the point where the same jokes are because they're the same jokes. It becomes funny a little bit. It's not. There's a
yeah.
couple of big laughs in it, but other than that, it's like whatever, but it's definitely worth seeing.
I'm gonna see. I like all the movies he does anyhow. The main actor there, he writes a ton of those art movies. They use the same crew of
Christopher
people too.
Guest, Michael
Yeah, yeah,
McKean. Yeah.
yeah. Christopher Guest. I mean, he writes all those the best in the show.
Oh,
Waiting for
that's a good
Guffman.
one. Yeah, I like. Yeah, then there's the wind. What is it? The one the folk
Break like
band.
the wind. Is it break like the wind? No, wind. Oh, you're right. It's what is it called? Something like the wind. I know you're talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah,
But that's
yeah,
another one. That's a good one.
yeah. That's
But
a
I
good
think
one.
Best in the Show is my favorite one. Where's Busy Bee?
I love that one.
You
That's a
have a
good
dog.
one.
I had to buy a Busy Bee for my dog. People were going off track, people, but they're good movies. Check them out. They really are good.
Well, that could be like the best in show. They that whole human nature that can apply big time to the metal scene. I mean,
Oh
like
yeah,
because I mean we do these like I even because I still play with Danzig and we do a couple of these festivals and it's just like it's unbelievable the pretenses and the arrogance that goes on and it's just like it's just not fun. It's just like it winds up just being like this is supposed to be fun, this is supposed to be cool, like, and it just winds up to be drudgery. It's like why these huge festivals and these things and like it's unbelievable. It really it's and then the competition between bands and the like don't walk here and don't do this and don't do that and like you can't wear that and like this don't say this and this whole thing like you know now it's like especially in Europe they have like signs everywhere in the venues like this type of talk will not be tolerated. This is not
uh,
this type of behavior. This is type of like and it's just like you can't kid around anymore. Like you can't like even in jest say anything because you're afraid like somebody's going to hear it, somebody's going to get insulted, somebody's going to want to kick you out of the venue, blah 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 blah. Somebody's going to report you to the police. It's like this whole thing now, like where you can't do anything, and it's just like it's unbelievable. So I mean,
that's that's crazy how intense it's
yeah.
gotten. I mean,
I
it's
posted it. I was like, there's like a whole, we played this venue. It's a great venue in Hamburg, and like the people are cool, and it's like, but they do have like this long list of inappropriate behavior things, like, and it's everywhere. It's like, and I just took a picture of it and put it on the Prong website, and of course I was sort of like being funny about it and everything. And like these people on the, they didn't even get that. It's just like, Tom, you're an asshole now. Like, fuck you. Like, I'm like, what did I do? I just like, what are you trying to say? And like, I'm like nothing. I wasn't trying to say anything. It's like everyone took it the wrong way. It's like, no, I don't believe everything that's said here. And like maybe some, yes, but it was just the weirdest thing in the world. I should have never done. You can't even do stuff like that anymore. That's what I mean.
Right.
That's the point. It's like I was with uh with ministry. Like I troll. They had like this big birthday, 40-year anniversary of ministry birthday party thing, and I forget what I said. It was totally in joke. I was totally like fooling around because like I still talk to Al or whatever and like those people. And like I said, yay, the Biden administration banned. I put like on the post. I had hate mail and death threats from that. Like I was just fucking kidding around with them. It's just like, you know, it was a total joke, like and the people were just like, "You're a Nazi," and like all this shit. Just because I said I was kidding around, saying, "Oh, yay, the Biden administration ban." Like it was a joke. I was
Yeah, you
joking
can't do that
around.
anymore.
No, you weren't. Why would you say something like that? Like there was hundreds of comments in response, like hundreds getting personal. I will never listen to Prong again. Like it's like amazing. Whatever. But
Well, I mean, the other thing, I mean, if you just even if you into something and you know it's going to bust on your friend and you believe in the same thing, you're still going to say it to bust on him. It's got nothing to do with the topic. You're just busting on someone. That's where that humor comes from. That is gone. It's not even about the main point. You just want to give somebody a hard time and laugh.
yeah, no, it was
Yeah.
so totally
Yeah,
that.
yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. It's
I
like
can't do
no
it.
one does that anymore. You can't do that anymore. You can't be
You
like,
can't do it.
I
I live in
actually,
New York. I live in New York. You can't do it here anymore neither. It's like everyone's just like, oh, like well, we got this new record out, the live album. So
that's what we were going to talk
uh,
about for a couple minutes before I give you up
yeah,
your time. Let's
yeah,
let's talk about that for a couple minutes. So the set list, it's 14 songs on it. It's
right.
got a very interesting mix because I went through one of those set list things over the years with you and what songs you put on it because you had a ton of other
Oh my
fan
God, we
favorites.
had yeah, we was
So
doing the set that we were playing. Not to interrupt, was over 2 hours long that we've been
yeah,
playing
I
because
mean you
there's
have a
just
lot.
so
I
many
printed it
songs.
up too. Yeah, I printed it up. You have 23 songs roughly that you guys were going through in the
Well,
past
the
year.
label did not want to put out a double album record, so like they were like, "Well, you got to do a live record." So we recorded the whole thing, and then they were like, "No, like you got to have some kind of conceptualize it into like a single record." So it's like, well, it was the 31 years of cleansing
Hmm.
tour. So I said, let's base it on that, but I wanna have some of the newer modern prong songs in there too. So I think it came
Yeah.
out great. I mean, like I'm happy the way we spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to manipulate that, have fit it into well on the vinyl it's 11 songs and then the
The
CDs are
bonuses are what? Out of Misery,
14.
Corpus Letai, and Whose Fist Is It Anyway
Right.
are the bonus. Yeah.
Initially, I was not going to put Whose Fist Is This Anyway on it because it's on. We have like this live bootleg record called Unleashed in the West that we put out ourselves, and that's on it. So that was like we wanted to avoid a lot of. We can't avoid Snap Your Finger, Snap Your Neck, but I wanted to put different songs on it. But that version of Who's Fist on this is unbelievable, and like the show is crazy. Like so, some of these shows were like wow. I mean, like 31 years later, and it's the same kind of vibe where people are like going absolutely insane at these shows. So, especially like, well, I mean, most of the shows were in Germany, but like in Holland and Belgium, it was like, especially Belgium, they go
Yeah.
ridiculously crazy. So, uh, yeah, that was the deal with that, like, fitting those songs. And then we have the two B-sides from Cleansing uh, that we hadn't played in forever, Inheritance and Corpus Delicti.
Hmm.
So those were Inheritance was on the Airhead soundtrack, and people may know it from that. So
It's
that's
still
a
a deep
fun.
cut for some people, though.
Yeah,
It's a
it's
deeper
very
fan
deep.
cut.
Yeah, no one knows. Like you can't even find the lyrics. I was like, I don't even remember what the lyrics are. I'm gonna go online. I couldn't even find the lyrics
It
to
took
it.
me a hot
So
minute to figure that one. I'm like, wait, what album's that from? I
no,
was like,
yeah.
oh man. And that's what I'm saying. I liked it because you couldn't do a great hits. There's certain songs. I'm like the thought process. By the way, and I love the production on it too.
Good.
It sounds really good. But yeah, it's really good the way you mix up the song because to me it still feels like you're not hearing just a greatest hits album with some in the background. It feels like you're hearing some tracks. You're like, oh, I wouldn't have thought of that. Like it's a great put together list of songs you haven't heard, didn't hear, something borrowed, something blue type of deal, with a good sound that the continuity is good, and they all work together too in order. Which also, even though it's live, it wasn't put together originally as all to be
No,
together.
no, it's not
Definitely
one
different albums.
show. Yeah, I mean, we could have done what everybody does, and that's like you do one, record one concert, and then go into the studio and fix it all up. And that's
I think
not
you're
what
saying you
we
could
did.
record one album in the studio and then do what everybody does and add background
But that's
cheers
what we
to
did.
it. That's what
Well,
they really do.
that's what we did with the Unleashed in the West. It's like live in the studio. Like we never said it was live. It's live.
Right,
It's live in the studio, and that's like what Kiss did, and Peter Frampton, and Priest, and a lot of those records were
right.
were done live in the studio, and they added noise. They added concert noise. So no, but this is all live, and it's actually this was way more time consuming listening to 14 concerts and right there that's times 2 hours, so figure how many hours that is of listening, and then figuring out, oh, is this one better than this, then breaking it down to four concerts, then breaking it down to three, and then finalizing the final version that you wanted to use because it's like the drum is like, well, I don't like what I said, no, we're not changing anything. So it's like, oh, that part's not right. I'm like, I don't care. We're using that version. It's like, I sound good on that, so let's use it. It's like it wound up being like the bass player played everything perfectly through every song, so we never had any problem with that. It's like some of the drum performances, the vocals are obviously going to be. It's all live vocals. It's like
First
even
live.
well, I mean, like the engineer that recorded it live, like all the shows, was like, "Oh, you're not to be able to use the live vocals on any of this. You know that, right?" I'm like, "No, I don't know that." It's like we're using the live vocals. How are you going to do that? I'm like, "We're going to make it work." And he's like, "Okay," So I went in with Joe, who mixed it with me, and out here on the island, and he was like, it's like, yeah, how are we going to do this? I'm like, just we'll be able to do it. We figured out a way to use the live vocals. Like it was tricky, but it can be done. It's like everyone has a problem. Said like the vocals have to be. You can't have any other extra any noises. If you're using the same tracks behind you, it doesn't matter. Like it's like you could fade it in and out. There's nothing going to be different behind you. So if
Right.
you're flying in a vocal from a different performance or whatever, yeah, but like it worked out fine. So it's
I
like
like it. I like the way it is. It fits like
yeah,
it's real. It breathes. It feels like
it
you're actually
breathes.
a live
It, it,
performance.
it breathes. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like I didn't to do a new vocal on those live shows would have been that
Then it's not
it
live.
would have ruined the whole thing because
Not live anymore.
it's never the same when you're singing in the studio. It's never ever 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 the same as when you're going out live. It's just not the same for me at least. Like most of the time, I'm way more into it live. Like I'm way more into it. Uh, it's just more crazier. So it's like in the studios, it's always like, well, I'm gonna have to sing this like five times to get it right, and I'm always like holding back a little bit. And it's hard to get that. It's hard, unless you like Phil Anselmo, who's just like a natural like genius. Like he'll go in and bust out a vocal for full force, and that's it. Bye. See you later. Like how many guys can do that? Like Rob Halford, you know, Phil
Yeah.
Anselmo, there's not that
Only
many.
a handful nowadays.
You,
Yeah.
well, we talked about Pearl Jam, Eddie Vedder. That guy can like walk into a room and like breathe on something, and it's going to be like genius. It's like I know people are going, Eddie Vedder, what are you kidding me? It's true though. It's like it doesn't it's in the big picture of things. It's like that. It's like John Fogerty is another guy. Like you just whatever there's not a bad Creedence song. There's not like there's not one bad Creedence song.
I think if you say to the people that don't get it, and even if there's a group that you don't like, you hear that someone says that, pretend you're not listening to the music, but look at the song structure. And I always say this: are you serving the song? It's really about the song and how they're singing and what they're doing to it. Take away you don't like whatever. Look at how the song's being put together, and that's what you're talking about. I mean, of course you
Oh,
enjoy the other pleasantries, but it's how the song and the voice and the vocals. It's a piecing of the puzzle, and then the production.
yeah, I mean, but we're old guys. It's like I was on a I had this young dude. He's in a band now, a pretty popular band. So he was actually our tour manager, and he's a drummer, a good kid. And he was like, oh, this whole song structure that Prong does that's old. Like you could tell that you guys listen to Kiss. He was like, we as young kids, we don't care about that anymore. Like, we're into like, we want to break down all that song structure that you guys use. Like, he goes, we try not to do that anymore. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, I get it. That makes sense. It's like, he's like, listen to this. It's like, we don't, it's like, we did that part and that's it. And we're never going back to that. And we don't like choruses and we're not
Well, we
concerned.
already had the Grateful Dead, right? We already had the Grateful Dead. So
Okay.
they don't do song structure. So there you go.
Well, I mean, the Grateful Dead were amazing.
I
I mean,
know.
it's like,
I know, but
I know these bands, it's like, it's all about the breakdown, the mosh part, like whatever the hell. That's like, the arc, and then everything else is like these little things, and then like as guitar players, they're concerned about make sure that this solo is perfect, and then the other one is perfect, and then there's the breakdown arc, and the voice, the guy's got to sound angry, and that's it. Those are the parameters for a song now. It's like there's nothing else that matters. There's nothing. The lyric does. Who cares? No one knows what the lyrics are anymore. That's another thing. Is where back in the old days, or back in the 80s, like really, the lyric was the thing that was driving the whole thing. Like
Yeah.
like especially in hardcore, like what was being said was the whole thing. Like where the music and everything else was just those were
It's like
the
this
yeah.
soundtrack to your mantra, really, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Like, especially in 60s music, like you talk about Creedence again, too, like where, all right, like the protest songs, etc., where that was all just, I mean, the melodies are great and the guitar playing is amazing and everything else. But, like, especially in punk rock, like the lyrics were the main thing. Forget
Yeah.
today. Who knows what these guys are singing about?
I don't.
Breakups. Yeah, chicks suck, breakups, or Satan. It's
There's a
like,
bunch of groups I can't listen to because the lyrics are so bad. And the problem is, yeah, you're right. It's not a song. It's usually like a craziness and then like a guitar solo. You're like, well, it has a solo in it. That's nice. But there's not a song. I want to hear a song in there, and I want you to build from a song everything around it. Obviously, the vocals. I mean, the lyrics are part of the song. I always say like the song is like the frame of the car, and then
yeah,
like
absolutely.
the singer is like the singer and the lyrics are like the steering, and the guitar and the bass is kind of like the engine, and the guitar is kind of the fancy part around the car, so you can kind of do things around the frame. But it's a whole moving beast, and if you neglect those pieces, it's a jalopy, and it's got cool parts, but it's not a thing.
Well, that's why
To
it's
me,
hard for
to
prom
me,
because, yeah, I mean, like I'm trying to come up with good riffs, and then that has to be in the context of a song. Otherwise, it's like I tried working with other guitar players on like a side project, and it was like it never seems to work out because like I'm like I don't care about that. Like like as like who cares about that? Like like what are you talking about? I'm like no, no, no. It's like so it's like I'm like I'm always looking for like when I write a riff, I was like, what kind of vocal like subconsciously can be on top of this? Like,
mm-hmm.
there's no instrumental parts. It's just like, like it's just like has to support some kind of vocal line, like, and if it doesn't, then yeah, it could be something on the side that we throw in there, but for the most part, I got to think about that at the same time, and then now, like I'm really concerned because people's attention levels are so low. It's like no, it's like no more 4 minute songs. Like Like this, what people are considering to be the single on the next Prong record, it's 2.5 minutes long. So it's like, I'm putting that all together in like a strong format now. So because the days of you know and Justice for All are gone for me. Like these
Yeah,
long. I mean, it's like I listen to that now, and when it came out, I was like, this is cool. But now I'm like, I can't take it anymore. It's like.
yeah.
It's like my attention level is I've gone with the regular the general populace where I can't I have no attention. I have I it's gone so small like with the phone smartphones and shit. I'm like, oh, I can't read this whole article. You know what I mean? Like it's the
You know,
same
you
thing.
do turn off your phone and pull out your Jethro Tull and your Yes albums,
Oh my
your
God.
John Anderson, and just take a deep breath and listen to the Tales of Topography and like 4 vinyls or whatever, and just enjoy it and take a break. And you need to like redo your soul again. I mean, I've talked to both those guys.
No,
I'm
no, no,
like,
no, no.
those are some songwriters.
You cannot get through Relayer. I mean, I'll give you $5 when I see it. That is impossible to get through. I don't know how anybody can listen to that. You
Well,
know?
you got to plan your day. You got to just sitting at it. I do stuff. I'll have stuff around the house. I'll be doing stuff.
Okay. All right.
I can't just
Toll,
sit and
I'm
listen to
Toll,
it
I'm
straight.
fine with. But
Right.
like
Well, that's storytelling, and it's elves, and
yeah,
it's all kinds of too young, what is it? Too old to die, too young to live,
yeah.
or some crazy
Too
titles he's
young.
had.
Oh,
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
die, die. Yeah. But like yeah, but yes, I sort of like I got into a little bit. I was like I saw some Genesis online. I'm like, okay, that's all right. And then so I was like, I got to go back because I had all those Yes records on. My ex-wife got rid of everything. And I was like, did I really listen to Relay? I always remembered that one was like, what the hell's going on? And I tried listening to it again recently, and I'm like, no, it's
It's
impossible. It's an
it's a lot.
absolutely, yeah. It's
It's a
like,
lot. I mean, Tales got
yeah.
like a Tales.
It's
Tales.
been a great talking to you. Is any other questions or anything?
No, no. I want people to check out the new album. Hold it
Yeah,
up again.
man.
That's what this is about. It
It's
was
called
a good
Live and
talk.
Uncleansed. Live and
Yep.
Uncleansed. It's got three more modern prong songs that are bangers. Called However It May End is on it, and then Ultimate Authority and our most biggest recent hit, Revenge Best Served Cold. So, and then the rest of them are cleansing and B-sides and cleansing
They're all.
songs.
It's a really good album, and that's why I reached out to you to have you on. So I
Thank you
wanted to
very much, man. I
give this
appreciate
an
you
extra
coming up.
push. Maybe we can chat again when the new album's out or
Yeah,
prior
man.
to.
Yeah,
We can set it up.
November.
Okay, we'll talk again between then. I'll shoot you an email. All right,
Thanks,
brother.
buddy.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
man. Appreciate it, man.
Okay.
Thank you.